I was saying that what really struck me about the film was that Aya, the protagonist, we see her in the beginning leaving her wedding, leaving the altar, and then we just cut to her life in Guangzhou. Another director might have shown us the circumstances of why she left Africa, why she ended up in China. But you just cut to her new life. Can you talk about that decision?
J'ai compris. Non, tout d'abord, merci d'être là. Et c'est difficile d'expliquer un cut, vraiment. Je pense que c'est un choix comme ça de création. Et ça pouvait ne pas être un cut aussi. Mais je voulais préparer déjà sur l'idée de rêve.
So what he's sharing with us tonight, can you guys hear me? Okay. Hi, everyone. So what he's sharing with us is that at first it was, you can think of it like how to look it into like now I'm saying in French, quête, but into like a quest, there it is in English. But instead it was just how he wanted to go about the creation. That was just the choice that he wanted to go with that lens.
I want to go back a little bit from the film to Timbuktu. And then, so I saw the film last year at the Berlinale, so that was the start of 2024, which means that there was a 10-year gap between Timbuktu and Black Tea. Can you talk a little bit about why the 10-year gap? And also, I know that you've actually been thinking about Black Tea for even more than 10 years. I mean, you were thinking about it for some, for years before it was made, you said in the press notes. So maybe can you tell us about why the long gap? Why 10 years, but also when did you start thinking about Black Tea? Yeah.
Why 10 years? It's very simple. Amidou, lève-toi.
Hi, Amidou.
Yes. He's 10 years old. No, it's very important for me to... cinema is also my life, but it's not, my life is not only cinema, really. One of the most big reasons, I think, is what we do in Mauritania with Kessen, because we protect a big forest. We have forests in Mauritania. And to protect the forest and to be there and to try to do something, it's really important. If you do that, I think cinema is not the most important thing, really. If you have the connection of it. And that is one of the reasons. The second reason is I make opera in Paris, in Châtelet. It takes 2 years to prepare to do that. It's long, and that is the reason. Yeah. I didn't think really about this 10 years. The question also, I think the question is to make movies, not comment dire, il n'y a pas de rendez-vous.
There's no like scheduled appointment.
Yes, and I really, yes. For me, it's very important to do the best time to do something. And cinema is important, of course, because it's my life, it's my job, but I think it's very important to create the distance of the creation too. Yes, and not to take that like the most important thing in life, etc. And to say if I don't make movies, terrible, etc. No, I don't have this kind of relation. And also maybe because my life, our life, Kessen, she's also my wife. She's the writer of the script. She's my wife, and we try to be to have the connection of the people. Because when I decided to come back to live in Mauritania, it's 12 years ago. It's completely different in my life in Paris before that. But I think it's really important for artist, filmmaker, to be in the connection, your world. It's not meant to be in Africa, no, because the place of artists is everywhere. You feel good or you feel bad in the place. That's important to have your own connection. And after that, of course, I start to change and to think about some other, not only cinema. Yes, that's really important. When we have this forest, our connection is really with the people who live around us. It's many villages. It's very, very important to be there and to have the connection.
Thank you for saying that. It's something, as someone who works in cinema, I have to always tell myself movies are not that important. Life and the world is more important. So thank you for affirming that. Kessen, so you wrote the script, you also produced the film. Can you tell me a little bit about the first image or the idea, the seed that gave rise to this film? Because it's a very unique screenplay. I don't know if I've ever seen another film about an African immigrant in China.
Alors, je vais le dire en français.
Oh gosh, you
Oui.
Donc, ce processus d'écriture avec Abderrahmane était largement avancé parce qu'il avait l'idée déjà depuis une quinzaine d'années de ce projet de Black Tea, donc bien avant Timbuktu.
So this idea actually birthed maybe like 15 years ago prior to Timbuktu. It was just a thought and they were, trying to see how they could proceed with the thought.
Parce qu'il avait déjà remarqué ce lien qui était déjà naissant entre la Chine et l'Afrique, mais qui ne se racontait pas.
So he was already in observance of the relations of China-Africa, but there were not stories told as of yet. But he already foresaw how this relation China would proceed.
Donc, dans nos échanges déjà, il en parlait avec des expériences bien précises. Par exemple, à Bamako, le premier restaurant qu'il a découvert, qui était tenu par un couple sino-africain.
Sino-African? Okay. So one of his first encounter was in Bamako, and there was a restaurant founded by a couple that was Sino-African, so Chinese African, yeah. And that was his first encounter of his experience, knowing that, hey, something's about to birth out here.
Et également, dans un de ses films, En attendant le bonheur, il fait déjà allusion à la relation sino-africaine avec une jeune fille qui rencontre un Chinois immigré en Mauritanie.
So in this Chinese relation film, there was already a storyline of c'est une fille immigrée, n'est-ce pas? Of a young lady migrating from China.
Donc, dans un de ses films, En attendant le bonheur, Waiting for Happiness.
So the movie was called Waiting for Happiness, and in this film, the synopsis was about the immigration of Africa-China.
Voilà, donc à partir de là, c'était un travail collaboratif pour en faire un scénario.
And that was the collaboration that started the scenario.
Also, it was very important for me to share something very important. Is to show Africa. It's also the place of immigration of the people. It's very important because in the media and everything they think African move to go in the West, in Europe, but the movement of people is completely is different movement. A lot of people come also in Africa to live. A lot of Chinese, and this question, China in Africa and Africa in China, for me, it's very important to consider that like a movement of the world, and it's positive for me. It's very important. China and Africa, Asia and Africa, is not a small thing. disconnection will change the world. We must accept that. And it's really, and especially China today, as you know, many people, especially in West, concept of information, China is dangerous for Africa. It's not true. It's really not true. Because they never come in Africa with arms to kill people. Never. Yes. And if you look the history of Africa, people come to kill people. Yes, that is the reality. But China is not like that. Yes, they never come for that. I remember when I was young, many things in Africa, hospital, culture center, many things was built by China. In that time, China was very poor. They built that. They create something. When the colonial system left Africa in 16, you take country like Congo, maybe only 2 doctors or 3 doctors was there. The colonial system, they create only the administrator for the country. They didn't create any road. Only sometimes we take Mauritania, they create the train who take the fare, the mineral to go somewhere. And yes. And it's very important. I remember when I was young, the doctor in my country, there was Chinese. Yes. In the small village, it was Chinese. It's very important to organize, to remember that. And not to have the fixation about China. And to say they are dangerous, yes. And for me, it was very important to create another kind of relation, of course, to show something different. In the same time, I know Africans who live in China today, they have sometimes difficult situation. People reject African, but African was rejected in many places. In Italy, in France, in maybe 50 years ago, it was difficult because it was new. And this fact is new in China because the country was not open really. But for me, in the last scene of the movie, when you saw Liben talk with her grandfather, that is mean the new China will come. Of course, that's very important to create, and not the fixation about China is dangerous in Africa. But at the same time, I try to say, before to build the Silk Road, it's really important to build relation, the human being relation, the cultural relation. It does not exist now in China. Yes, it's sad. It's very sad because this trip we go together in China 3 years just to understand before we wrote the script. But China refused this movie. They didn't give us the possibility to shoot the movie there.
You shot in Taiwan, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. That is really sad. Yes, because they think, etc. But
Wait, they think what?
yes.
Why didn't they give the permission?
No, I think it's really difficult to say exactly. But one of the reasons not to accept it was the main character, the Chinese man, is not really Chinese character because he cannot be in love with an African girl. Yes, it's completely stupid, of course. But you know, all system are stupid. Not only Chinese system, you know, we are in the US today. Yes, yes, we can.
We cannot throw stones from a glass house, y'all.
Yes,
we cannot.
yes.
So, I really think when I saw Black Tea, I was so struck by the fact that it is a totally different kind of immigration story. When you think of immigrant cinema, you think of people coming from Africa, Latin America, Asia, the global south, to the white countries, the Western countries. It's so rare to see a story like this of an immigrant moving from one place in the global south to another. That's one thing. The other thing is that when you think of immigrant cinema, you always think of people suffering, fleeing war, famine, coming to the shore on a boat. This film represents a reality that exists but does not fall into these narratives, right? Like, we actually don't know why Aya is there. That's why I was so interested in the beginning, because all we know is that she left her wedding. And there is no kind of glorification of suffering, of these kind of economic realities of immigration that are the focus in Western media. So can you both talk a little bit about this other view of immigration that you showed in this film, or immigrant cinema?
It's a political question, of course, because first, people in West, they don't really look how the world changed, really. The focus is like the middle of the world is maybe Paris, New York, or London, or no. The life is not like that. The center of the world is everywhere. And the history of human beings is a very strong thing. You cannot stop that. Some things happen. And I want to show that. I want to, yes. And it's not easier if you make movie like that, because people want from you to do another movie sometimes. They expect something. They are not ready to see this movement. And also, people think the movement of African is only economic. Yes, and it's not true. And everybody have the right to move somewhere. But that today is not possible for Africa. Yes. Any American person or French or Italian, they can buy a ticket and go to Ouagadougou, to Dakar, or everywhere. It's very difficult for African people to buy tickets and to go somewhere. That is terrible reality. Yes. And yes, I try to your question is very important, and I want to show, yes, every person have the right to move somewhere, even if for Aya it's just a dream. But that's the one of the part of the reason of the movie. But the most important thing also is how society don't give the people to be how they want to be. Yes. Aya, it's very difficult to say no to your society. Very difficult. Yeah. And but she do that. She try, and it's not an African question. Aya, it's a woman question. Maybe our work together was very important for that, because in the movie, Ying and Aya is the same person. And Sue, who was in Cape Verde, and she talked the same. Comment on dit la coiffeuse?
The hairstylist.
Yes, Doué, she talked about her life, etc. It's the same. It's a human story also, a woman story. It's very important. It's not African women suffer not. I think women suffer everywhere. Yes, it's reality. Yes, the power of men exists until today in the society. Yeah. And we try to talk about that. Not to make African girl like the cliche of she's really had the right to go. And this love story, maybe, or the intention to be in love, it's an interesting process for me.
Maybe I can have Kessen jump in here. I'm interested to know your take also on immigrant cinema, but specifically, Abderrahmane brought up love, and I found it so. I mean, this is a story. This is a love story. It's a story of desire, of sensuality, and through the format of the love story, it gets to all these other political realities. Can you talk about why it was important for it to be a love story, why it was important for it to be a women's story, not just one woman's, but a women's story.
Alors, avant de répondre à votre question, je voulais compléter la question précédente.
So she's just going to add on to what Sissako shared with us before she can answer the question.
Dans la vision qu'on peut avoir de l'immigré africain ailleurs.
So the vision of what you can have of immigration overseas.
Ce film a été tourné donc en grande partie à Taïwan.
So as you guys know, it was filmed in Taiwan.
Avec des techniciens taïwanais.
With producers from Taiwan.
Donc, et aussi une communauté africaine qu'on a dû prendre sur place.
With a African community that they had to encounter in place.
Et donc, cette collaboration a été vraiment une expérience extraordinaire qui a permis aussi de montrer à quel point autour d'un film peuvent naître une meilleure compréhension de qu'est-ce que c'est que l'étranger et aussi de l'étranger de comprendre où est-ce qu'il vit et quel est son rapport avec le pays dans lequel il vit.
So with this encounter and collaboration, what it allowed is that it birthed to humanize the experience, right? So knowing the history and knowing their existence, it helped shape this project.
Et donc, à Taïwan, nous étions frappés de voir à quel point la communauté africaine est très bien. C'est-à-dire, il n'y a aucun Africain qui vit dans du misérabilisme. Ils sont tous des étudiants, des intellectuels et bien intégrés dans la communauté et très bien acceptés.
So meeting the African community in Taiwan, what they learned and what they were exposed to was how well the African community was living out there. Their students, their scholars, they're, becoming citizens of Taiwan. So it was actually a positive experience.
Donc ça, c'était une expérience extraordinaire. Et de la même façon, les Taïwanais acteurs qu'on a pu amener au Cap-Vert ou en Côte d'Ivoire, qui ont aussi, eux aussi, pour la première fois, rencontré l'Afrique, la vraie Afrique.
So they were able to fly these actors from Taiwan to Ivory Coast, to Cape Verde Islands, and their experience themselves seeing this beauty of Africa, right? Like the reality not having to do with, I guess, the poverty porn that you were mentioning, just real human experience there.
Voilà, ce que je voulais rajouter, c'est à quel point, au-delà du film qu'on a pu voir, qu'est-ce qui a été construit, qu'est-ce que ça a apporté en plus dans le relationnel.
And that made positive impact into producing the film.
Et donc, pour répondre à cette question, alors, non, les idées viennent à partir du moment où on a fait plusieurs voyages en Chine, qu'on s'est documenté sur qu'est-ce que c'est qu'une relation amoureuse entre un Chinois et une Africaine, et qu'est-ce que c'est la réalité que nous rencontrons tous les jours et que nous voyons, c'est-à-dire le métissage.
So traveling through China, they were able to really encounter the reality of human relations and also, most importantly, mixed relation, right? Like mixed race, intercoupling, and that helped as well through the project.
Et ensuite, donc, quand on commence à écrire autour de ce projet, il y a tout naturellement des histoires qui vous arrivent dans les rencontres que nous avons pu faire tous les deux, donc qui sont essentiellement autour aussi de la problématique féminine. Donc du coup, ça devient très important d'en parler.
So the more encounter they've done in their trip to China, right, it allows to bring these human experience to this story, right? So as we mentioned earlier, what women go through and the complexity of womanhood.
Et donc, montrer la place et la force de la femme, pas que africaine, devenait essentiel pour ce projet.
So it wasn't just the African women experience for this project, but it just in general of what womanhood go through.
So I'm going to make my colleagues here very upset because they said time's up, but I want to make sure I at least get a couple questions from the audience because it's not every day we have Abderrahmane Sissako in front of us. So please help me and make it very quick. And please, Abderrahmane and Kessen, yes.
Hi, I'm not surprised actually that Abderrahmane and your partner, you made this kind of film because you've always pushed the envelope. So I'm not. And I'm just really, really, really glad that you did something that was really out there. I'm just interested to find out if you like Zhang Yimou. Because when I was watching your film, you know, I mean, you're such a brilliant filmmaker, and I think he's also such a brilliant filmmaker. Do you like Zhang Yimou? I'm just curious.
I don't know him, but I like him very much. Yeah, he is. It is. I like his work. Yes, this kind of cinema it's very important because it's poetical and beauty, and yes, I like really Zhang Yimou.
Are there any Chinese filmmakers in particular that you really enjoy?
Particular, I can see that. No, I like beautiful cinema from China, from everywhere. Yes, I like. I'm not very a person who go to see movies, and I'm not. Yes.
Guys, movies not that important.
Yes, yes. No, it can be important, but it's, no, I'm not a good cinephile. Yes.
Okay, one more question. We'll keep it real quick. Can someone bring around the mic to that person over there? Right in front of you, yeah. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi, it's congratulations. It's I could speak in French, but I think it's better if I speak in English.
Please, thank you.
I'm French, so it's a remarkable movie. I mean, the subtlety. So I don't really have a question, but you kind of answered it because I realize now it was filmed in Taiwan with the real population, the real community, African community there. But I just want to praise you. I'm completely amazed what you captured, the beauty and the subtlety of relationship between each personage, whether Chinese or African, and also remarking that all Africans are speaking Chinese, which is an incredible thing that Americans should be listening to and pay attention to that because, you know, here people speak English. If you're a foreigner, they laugh at you. I've had that for 45 years, so it's nothing new for me. However, I found the subtlety of the relationship and and also the Chinese man. The Chinese man is very delicate. You know, the relationship is so incredibly delicate. That was your intention, or did you encounter it when you were in Taiwan, seeing the relationship between the Chinese and the African immigrant?
No, it was the intention. It was the script. The script was like that, of course, and to show this man like that. He's not very courageous. He's not. It's not a bad person. Yes, and I think yes, I really. We try to make the balance of this kind of character. Yes.
Do you want to quickly comment on the question of language?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, what you say about African who speak Chinese is very interesting. Guangzhou, when you are in Guangzhou, we saw Senegalese and Nigerian, they speak in Chinese. It's very good. It's, to be open for another country is very important. And it was really, for me, yes, it was very interesting and it's powerful to see how people can learn the complex language that they learn because they believe to human being, they believe another person. Yes, that's important. Just one example, the Aya, this actress, of course she don't speak Chinese, but she learned 6 months, all the text in Chinese, 6 months. Yeah, and it was very, very interesting. And the Chinese who know Chinese, yeah, they say that she have the good accent. She has, but she don't speak Chinese. But she learned that. She do that. She was because the character of the Aya was very important for her. She believed that, and she do her best. Yeah.
I think we will wrap up there or I will get yelled at. So Please put your hands together for Abderrahmane, for Kessen, for Ludi. Thank you all for joining us.